There she is, making her KLW debut today. She sees me. She didn't back in like Chris, but she still has a parking battle, lots of room there. Interesting, the traits of the co-host are the same.
Mic check 2. Mic check 1, mic check 2. Ha ha. Ha ha.
Hey Jessica, your mic?
Mic check 1, mic check 2.
You know how many sound guys it takes to screw in a light bulb?
How many?
1, 2, 1, 2.
Oh boy. I hope we're recording that. That might make the show. We are live, everybody, but we are also on tape. We are in the bowels of Lee's music. That's not Chris Folds. That's Jessica Wallace. She's making her co-hosting debut in place of Chris Folds. Jessica, how do you feel?
Thanks for having me on the show. I'm really appreciative.
Folds is suspended. He's been late too often, so you get your time to shine. It's a great show. Actually, it's a weird show to start here. Our main guest, Gavin Dodd, in studio is caught in a traffic jam. But when he does get here, we're going to talk about his trampoline career, which is skyrocketing. He's a national champion in the senior men's division, so that's pretty cool. And you're going to tell us a bit about what you've been working on, which is a vaccination mandate for city staff. What's going on there?
Yeah, the city, like other governments, are looking to require their staff to be vaccinated in a bid to keep the public safe and that kind of thing. You know, it's caused a bit of a stir because elected officials are not included in that vaccine mandate. And one city councillor has come out kind of saying that he is not vaccinated and he opposes this idea. So we'll talk to Dale Bass and get her take on this. She's been vocal in the media and get a rundown on that.
That's as long as Dale Bass has charged her laptop up, which she is having issues with this morning, Dale. Unbelievable. We're also going to talk to the South Kam girls field hockey team. I went out there on Monday morning, cold, frigid, chilly, Hillside Stadium. They get up for practice 6:40 a.m. They're going to provincials today. Vancouver Island today. They had help to get there from community donors, so it's a cool grassroots high school story. We love those on this show. Magic Mike, is your mic good to go?
Yeah, my mic's on.
Okay, you have a special guest here this morning. Can you introduce her?
Yeah, so I've got Lydia Storms, who is an aspiring hockey player, grade 9 student, and it's come to work day with me. So Lydia is here. We've been working on guitars this morning before he got here, and we're actually going to be taking a bit of a walk to the city council chambers and fixing their microphones today. So she's got a lot of exciting things going on.
Does she know anyone famous? Because you seem to be your best friends with Trudeau, you're best friends with Prince William. You have any famous friends like Magic Mike over here? No.
Unfortunately.
Not yet. We're going to make some friends.
There's another elephant in the room. I guess it's a bear. It's this guy right here. This is Chris the Tardy Bear, we're calling him. He's part of our Christmas Holiday Bear Contest through KTW, Kamloops this week, giving away 24 of these guys and girls right here. Grand prizes as well, like getaways to Sun Peaks, a getaway to Sun Peaks, $1,000 in Safeway GCs. You can read our paper starting November 24th to find out how to win, and that's enough for Chris the Tardy Bear. Show up on time next time, Chris. Does Jer sleep with a teddy bear still, by chance?
Our dog?
Actually, how's the dog doing?
You know, she's our therapy dog these days.
Well, it's Macy, right?
Yeah.
Last time I saw Macy, she was covered in, burdocks, and she
Yeah.
was scolded for being where she shouldn't have been. How much of that story can you tell?
I mean, Macy, you know, Westies sometimes are known for these prim and proper skirts and for being in dog competitions like the ones you see on TV. But this is a dog that likes to play. She's in the woods on the trails. She's in the snow, and she's not going to be this little princess dog.
No, I wanted to give you a chance as well to say hello to your grandma.
What can I say about my Baba? She's a legend in our family. The wise woman in our lives. She's 88 years old, and she is 4 foot, maybe 7, but she has the heart of gold. So.
And she's part of that Wallace power family structure that I was talking about on Instagram the other day. People think it's Ken Christian, people think it's Todd Stone, Peter Millibar that runs this city, but There's about 4 to 9 secret power families that really run this city, and the Wallaces are one of them. City Center Auto is just a cover. They go to Mount Paul when the moon is full, and they make the decisions and they pull the strings in the city. So I think that's
No. Like I said, we're more likely to be having drinks at Mount Paul on the golf course there than meeting and having some secret meeting. So.
Okay, your grandma also brought me pineapple one day at work, so that leads nicely into our brand new commercial, New Leaf Produce Market. I'm sure they have some kind of pineapple product. They definitely have juice. I went out last Saturday to Merritt where they had Apple Fest, and we got a tour of that commercial juicer right here.
Herman, it's a little cold for him. He's got lockjaw, so he can't speak right now. So we're going to take a tour. We're going to show you. We've got the commercial juicer here today. He pumps it into the collector, just like that. And then they go into the press right there, and they're washed a little bit. Pasteurized over here on the left. Who's that guy dressed up as Herman over there? I don't know what's going on. Something weird in the air on Halloween. Probably the best thing about this juice though, no chemicals, no added sugar. This is the real deal pure apple juice.
You do have a commercial juicer story of sorts, don't you?
Oh yeah, I was just saying that Jer and I were at Davison Orchard getting pumpkins on Thanksgiving, as one does when you're basic. And we saw this really interesting antique-looking kind of machine by the coffee shop area there, and it apparently is an old-school juicer, and it's a hand crank. It looks very old, like this, you know, prehistoric kind of machine to make juice. And I was just commenting on the commercial there and noticing that it looks like a very slick operation compared to what we saw there.
Yeah, it's a new school version of that. Were they actually serving juice out of that at the orchard?
No, it was just kind of a display thing of interest.
Okay, this was the real deal. It was working in full order, and the juice is fantastic. I was saying, Gavin Dodd, let's introduce him right now. That's Gavin Dodd, that's Kristina Dodd, that's their coach, Christy Griffiths. Gavin should be on the cover of one of these juice boxes because it's healthy juice. It's great for athletes. Before we bring in Gavin, though,
Yes.
hey
Hi.
man, what a day for you, eh?
Yeah.
So you were stuck in a big accident?
Yeah.
Every good superhero needs an origin story, and I think his really started with a defeat to me. 2016, we had a competition. Were you at the gym that day for that filming session? Do you remember?
I don't remember that, but I remember the video, and it was fantastic. I still laughed when I watched it the other day.
And we'll have a look at it right now.
Who do you think's gonna win?
I think Gavin's gonna win.
I've heard he's been on a backyard trampoline before, but I mean, who hasn't?
I'm on the cutting edge of gymnastics. This place here, the KGTC, it's in the dark ages. Absolute dark ages. I'm on the cutting edge. I'm doing things nobody's doing in the world right now.
Gavin, looking at Marty, what kind of diet do you think he's on?
I think he must eat a few things that are good, and then there's always a few things that aren't. You know, I think he's not on too much of a diet. I think he just kind of goes with it and just kind of does what he wants.
It's going to be tough for Gavin to lose in front of his mom and his teammates, but it's a learning moment for Gavin. You know, he'll need these if he wants to get to the next level. So.
Gavin, that has to be the biggest victory of your career.
Oh yeah, definitely. It was a huge victory for me. I was happy I got to put my performance down. I made sure I got all my landings solid because I know Marty was trying to get any points off of me as they could, but I just made sure all my landings were good so he had nothing on me.
Now, Marty, from your perspective, what happened?
Well, I've seen Russian judges that were less corrupt than that. I'm worried about now the whole education system in our country. If these kids can't see what everyone else just saw,
that I was robbed, and critical thinking is not being taught at these schools these days. I'm worried about this club here. They're not teaching the right things, obviously.
It was an interesting experience. You did really well on the trampoline. It was fun to do something different, and it kind of showed like how difficult the sport is to someone that really doesn't understand it, and how it actually does take a lot of like training and a lot of like knowing what you're doing to actually be able to do it well.
What you do is insane. Can you just explain, first of all, what is double mini trampoline?
So it's a small trampoline that you then run to. So there's a zone that's like on an angle, and then there's a zone that's flat. So you do one skill on the angled zone, one skill on the flat zone, and you need to land on a hard landing zone, preferably not taking too many steps.
And give me the name and explain one of your passes that you recently did at Nationals.
So the one pass, it's a full half straight Miller straight, so that's very technical. It's a double front, 1.5 twist in the straight position into a triple twisting double back in the straight position. So.
What would happen to you, Jessica, if you attempted one of those?
Don't ask me. I can't even do a cartwheel.
So you just turned 18, October 20th.
Yes.
You are extremely young to be a national champion, which you are now in the senior division of double mini. And you told me that Team Canada is in this kind of transitional stage right now. So how does that set you up now for your future in the sport?
It sets me up well because everyone's quite young. There's lots of experience, like lots of competitions that we could go to in different countries to gain experience. And since like I'm on the higher level of the senior team, they'll probably send me to more of those events, so I'll gain more experience and have a lot more confidence when it comes to the big competitions.
And you qualified to go to the World Championships, which this year, for some reason, are in Azerbaijan,
Yes.
right? Now you can't go. Why can't you go?
There's a lot of political things going on there as well as COVID. You know, just if something happened, it'd be really difficult over there. Like staying over there 2 weeks without the whole team, it would just be me. And then there's just a lot going on there. So I chose to stay back for this year and be ready for next year.
And how frustrating is it to not get to go to the World Championships after you're the national champion?
It is frustrating, especially seeing some people internationally. They're posting all about, you know, getting ready and, you know, going to training camps and stuff, like making their way over to Azerbaijan. So you do watch those and think like, you know, I wanted to be there. But there's, you know, things I can look forward to. Like I get to go to skiing instead of going to that, which is kind of nice. So you like look at the upside.
Does it set you back at all?
Not too much, because they don't really use this competition in terms of rankings for future competitions. But again, just like experience, like it does set me back, as everyone else will have that experience, whereas I will go to the next one as my first one.
You're not the only Dodd in town. Your sister Kristina, bronze medalist at the national championships. Before I ask you about her, we're going to show this clip right here.
As a result, she came third overall, which is, as a first year in the senior category, it's really unheard of to make a podium. So for Kristina, that was fantastic. Kind of watch this space on Gavin, is what I can say at the moment. Yes, he competed at nationals at 17. He's recently just turned 18. Being a 17-year-old going into nationals in the senior category is very unheard of. Working with Gavin, you know, he's shown huge potential and growth and development and all of that lot, but he's just been going up and up and up, and I'm really interested to see how high we can get with him.
With kind of the struggles I went through coming back from COVID, I struggled with a little bit of a kind of mental block and confidence block with my skills. So being able to place on the podium at the national championships I was really happy with that.
What's your relationship like with your sister, and how do you two kind of grind at each other to make each other better?
It's really good. We don't really fight too much. It's good to have her at training just because, you know, it's someone to talk to and someone that really understands like what's going on and everything, and it's nice to sometimes throw little jabs at each other, and it kind of makes me better, and I know it makes her better as well. It's like training with each other.
What strikes me about you is you've been doing this since you basically could walk, right? Gymnastics?
Yeah, so I started competing when I was 5.
Right. Your whole life has been laser focused in many ways on gymnastics, which I imagine comes with a lot of sacrifices in your social life. So how much sacrifice have you made?
Definitely a lot of times, especially in like high school, a lot of different things I could have gone to, but I chose, you know, training or a competition was more important. Or like school sports teams, I wasn't able to join those because it took too much time away from gymnastics. But I've also made connections in the gymnastics world that have kind of made up for that.
You also have a friend and rival who is also a fellow wunderkind like yourself. He's 18 years old.
Yeah.
Ontario, Kieran Lupish. What can you tell us about Kieran?
He's a really nice guy, and he's really great to kind of be on the team with. It's awesome to kind of have somebody at the same level and at the same age, just so that, and with the same amount of experience, just so that, you know, you have someone to talk to and someone that's going through everything that you're going through as well.
And at the same time, you guys are fierce rivals because next year, there is no Olympics for double mini trampoline.
No, it's not in the Olympics.
No, there is for trampoline, but there's not for double mini. So your Olympics is the World Games.
Yes.
And Canada can send only one. Only one of you two. So how badly do you want that spot?
It'd be really nice to have that spot, and obviously I'm going for that and training really hard thinking about that. But again, like if I don't get it, I'll be happy to, you know, be able to do other things, and then it's in 4 years, so I'm hoping in 4 years I'll be able to do it again.
And really, like these passes too, on the day, it's so hard for you guys because you could train for a year for essentially one pass. You know, and if you screw it up, you're basically screwed for getting the win, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so how much pressure is on you for that one moment?
Kind of depends on the competition. So this one being virtual, it actually felt like a little more pressure because you don't have the crowd to like get you excited and you don't have anybody like doing stuff with you, get you like amped. So you're kind of just stuck with the nerves without having like the excitement.
Right, because the nationals were held virtually, so you were at your home club at the KGTC. Very few people there except up in that glass looking area. No crowd noise to get you amped up. How much do you miss having that that fire in your belly that you get from the crowd?
I miss that a lot. I also just miss having everybody from different clubs in different provinces to be there with, because, you know, I've made friends with people, so, you know, I really want to see them at a comp again and compete with them again.
Right. Just
Olympic aspirations aside, I mean, we talked about the competition you had with Marty, and I noted that you won 76 to 80 compared to 14 to 80, and I'm wondering, what would the score be today?
Well, you paid off the judges. Let's remember that as well. But,
oh, okay, yeah. I think we'd find a similar result.
Speaking of the Olympics, you haven't totally written off the 2024 Paris Games. I think you'd have to focus more on trampoline if that was the case.
If I was going to go for that, I would have to put a lot more focus on trampoline. So it's not really my big focus. I think World Games is more what I'm going for, because I've kind of, as I've gotten older and done more, I've kind of realized that double mini is my strong suit, and that's more what now I'm putting more time towards that.
What about your injuries? You guys have a bunch of bang-ups, right? Ankles and wrists. Like, what, are you healthy right now? What's been your worst injuries?
So actually at Nationals, on the first day I did double mini first, and that went well. And then went over to trampoline, and I landed with my ankle on its side and kind of caused it to roll over. So then coming into finals, I had to like tape them up, and managed to compete, but it was pretty painful.
So you won gold with a bummed ankle.
Yeah.
No, that's incredible. I just wish you the best in your career.
Thank you.
Yeah, you and your sister have been great ambassadors for the city, and we wish you luck next year. Thanks for being with us.
Yeah, thank you.
Wallace, field hockey struck me as a sport that you would be good at. Did you ever play the sport?
Never. No, soccer, volleyball, not as many sports as our friend here who's visiting, but never field hockey, no.
It's an aggressive sport. It's not for the faint of heart. Those sticks are the real deal. They're heavy, they're made of wood, they're like shillelaghs. And these ladies are tough. They're out at 6:40 a.m. September and October at Hillside Stadium preparing for provincial championships, which start today. And kind of cool story, a bunch of community donors stepped in to get them there. And so they're also excited about their trip to Cactus Club for dinner, but more so for the championships, which start today in Victoria. I joined them at practice on Monday morning to talk to them. You can see that video right here. Shot in a goal. As you can see, it's 7:35 a.m. Tournament Capital Center, the South Kamloops field hockey girls. They're doing their last preparations before provincials. Oh, it's another goal. Bella is the obvious tallies woman.
Cassie and Bella are our two team captains. Yay! And they're in grade 12, so this is their last year.
Me and Cassie started playing because in our grade 10 gym class, they made us play, and then Cassie accidentally really injured one of her friends.
And then the gym teacher was like, you should play field hockey.
Yeah,
And so really strange.
we just started playing.
And what do
To the gym teacher.
So we try to practice on the turf field because all the games are on turf. And so this is the only time that we could all get together. So practices have been going through September and October, starting at 6:40 every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday morning.
pretty serious dedication, I guess, getting up at 6. You made me get up at 6:45 this morning to come out and meet you. You're already on the field at 6:45. So how close is the team?
Well, I think
not really close.
Last night for Halloween together, they're a close bunch.
Yeah.
They have big plans to go out to the Cactus Club in Victoria next.
Yay!
And they're a good
We're like a family.
We are called together.
And tired too.
Did you have to get help financially to get out to provincials? Was there some kind of help?
We did. We had a lot of donors step up. The girls did some selling of Krispy Kreme donuts on their own, so they did some fundraising.
Hopefully not too much eating before the...
Oh, never.
And then we were lucky enough to get some personal and some family donors.
It's not a mainstream sport, field hockey, right? So how was it kind of recruiting the girls?
Right, and of course, because of last year with the COVID year, there was nothing. It was a bit of a challenge. We were lucky that we had 4 international students that came to SKSS, and all of them had played field hockey before. So we had girls from Belgium, from Germany, from Spain, and from Taiwan, and they're all on our team.
Were you expecting to have a field hockey team when you came here?
I asked for it, so I changed school just for field hockey because so SKSS is the only school with a field hockey team. So yeah.
And what's the level of play like compared to what you'd see back home?
As like my level in Belgium is way higher than here, but it's just fun to play and it's like a way to make friends. It's really important, I think. And it's really cool because sport here are related with your school. So people you made friends in your team, you can see them in school too. So that's really nice.
Do you think your team is going to have a chance at winning a few games at provincials?
Of course.
You played high school sports. You were at St. Anne's, right? Mm-hmm. What's your best memory? Do you have a memory or that you can share with us from your days with the Crusaders?
Definitely high school provincials. I had the chance to shoot that kind of classic game-winning goal. It was in a shootout, and my coach had taught us how to shoot in shootouts. Always pick the same spot. You know where you're going, pick the same spot. You're not going to be shooting very frequently like in your sporting career, so just nail it down, have the right place. And I aimed for that bottom left corner in shootouts as the last shooter to win it, and I missed. It went high, but it went off the crossbar and went in, and I was saying to myself, oh, I missed, and my coach literally ran at me and picked me up, and it was just that moment that I'll never forget.
What's that feeling? Just bottle that feeling up. What's that feel like?
Oh, it makes me feel old right now because I feel like my sporting career definitely peaked then, but I thought maybe I could be this Olympic athlete. Didn't even go play university sports, so that's where we're at.
You've talked a bit about COVID. We're going to talk about COVID a bit more in your brand new segment, the Double W Wallace Watch. Oh yeah, what's your review of the Wallace Watch intro there?
I love the music. Thank you for my custom intro song.
That was me on GarageBand, me playing the keys, but I have to admit that I didn't make that specially for you. I made that like 6 years ago.
Oh, the truth comes out.
Recycled it with a big photo of you up there.
Thank you. I like it.
Okay, let's deal with your topic today. Tee us up. What do you want to talk about?
Yeah, so as we had talked about earlier, the city is looking to put in place a vaccine mandate. So effective mid-December, city employees, volunteers, contractors will be required to be vaccinated. And we just learned this week that if they aren't, they will be required to be tested every 72 hours in their own time. Kind of a bit of a pain, getting a test every few days. But where this story kind of takes an interesting turn, as I had mentioned before, is council isn't included in this mandate. And so speaking with the mayor and council, the majority of them are in favor of being included. In fact, they say, they should be community leaders. They're trying to promote people to get vaccinated during this global health pandemic. And but one city councillor is opposed to this and is not vaccinated, Denis Walsh. He thinks that a mandate is unethical, to take somebody's livelihood away potentially, and he believes that he has natural immunity because he had COVID in the past. So we have Councillor Dale Bass here to talk to us about what's been going on. Yesterday there was an update where they voted to allow electronic participation, which will give Denis the opportunity to tune into council meetings electronically.
Before we get to Dale, I want to ask you a few questions about what's been going on. It was your story originally with Denis that kind of got this out in the open. And what's the reaction been like and the fallout in the media been like since then?
Well, there's a letter to the editor in today's paper where somebody's talking about how they don't think it's necessarily fair that council should be excluded from this mandate when city employees will be subjected to it. Some people have criticized Walsh. The mayor yesterday said that 87% of the area is vaccinated and we need 90% to reach herd immunity. Interior health remains under increased restrictions while people in Vancouver are going to Eric Church concerts. So I think there's a lot of pressure on him to get vaccinated and to set an example.
I guess to his credit, he stands up for what he believes in. This is nothing new for Denis Walsh. He's not afraid to take a stand and stand up for what he believes in.
Often Denis will be the person on council to pipe up when nobody else does. I mean, he's the one who's asking questions. He's the one if all of council decides to go in one direction. Denis is not afraid to speak his mind.
Dale Bass is not afraid to speak her mind either, is
No.
she? So let's meet her in our next segment, which is Last Week, This Week. That's Dale Bass right there, one of our mentors, the famous red pen. What do you remember about Dale Bass's red pen when she used to be a reporter at KTW?
Oh, I have nightmares. My pages were covered in red ink. I mean, this slashed out, this X'd out, this all taken out.
Yeah, she had the same thing with me, and she's a huge mentor. We used to call her Grandma Googs, because instead of Googling, you could just ask Dale Bass. You just yell over what's this, and she'd have the answer. Big mentor in our journalism lives, and now she's moved on to City Council, and she's gonna speak her mind with us right now.
A Google.
Grandma Googs.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Okay, how are you?
Good. Are you in the middle of the screen? Can you?
I actually, from my perspective, I'm.
Yeah, that's better.
And I have lights on, but I sort of look dark.
You do look dark. It's fine. I mean,
Let me move it around. No, that's just as bad. Council has a procedural bylaw that requires us to not miss more than 4 in-person meetings. So we had to get around that. So during the council meeting yesterday, the mayor moved that we allow in electronic participation until the end of this term.
And that was in part to accommodate Denis Walsh.
Well, if you note, yesterday we had 3 councillors online participating. One was out of town. Actually, 2 were out of town. And Denis was participating from his home, yes.
And he has said that he wants to participate electronically, or that he would, because he's not vaccinated.
And he has to, Jessica, because he has to represent people. We can't exclude him. And we worked hard. I mean, I asked, 2 weeks ago, I asked CEO Trampoline to find a way to allow him to participate, because it was obvious he wasn't going to agree to be vaccinated.
Do you think he should be vaccinated?
Yes.
Why?
We make these statements all the time, the community health, don't use pesticides, community health, don't idle your car, community health, shovel your sidewalk so people don't fall, community health, get vaccinated so we can get to 90% so we can actually go back to life. It's a leadership issue to me. It's not, he's not vaccinated because he has, and I respect his viewpoint, But if you're going to be a community leader, you got to be it all the time, not pick and choose.
What do you say to employees who will be required to get tested every 3 days under this city mandate, effective in mid-December here, and then Councillor Walsh, who gets to Zoom into meetings and not seemingly follow similar rules?
Well, just as I explained, we're not employees, they're employees. And in some ways, being tested every 3 days, you're going to know if you have COVID or not. Whereas the rest of us go around and we won't know if we have it until we have it. The testing will be free. Yes, it's on employees' time, but the tests are not going to charge, we're not going to cost them anything on it. And if they continue to refuse, I'm sure council or CAO Trampoline will try to accommodate them. Some jobs can be done by Zoom as well. So it's not like we're trying to take people's jobs from them, which Councillor Walsh seems to keep saying. We're trying to accommodate the current reality, which is we need people to be vaccinated. If you don't want to be vaccinated, we need you to get tested. If you don't want to be tested, we'll try to find you another place to work.
And you've had 3 council members now who have had COVID.
Yes, and Councillor Hunter was double vaccinated as well, which is scary. It's simply scary that she did everything right. She did all the precautions. She and her husband, they went to a place that was checking all the vaccine passports, and now I think it's up to 21 people who have COVID from that event.
Yeah, she was at the Blue Grotto for a concert in recent weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, other communities, other governments are doing something similar. How does Kamloops' mandate compare?
We were told yesterday that about 8 other communities have asked for copies of our policy. So that's good. I know that staff talk to other communities to get input from their policies as well. This is the other thing. Businesses, governments, transit companies, everybody's doing this because they know we have to do this. It's not like we're the only municipality in BC that's saying you got to be vaccinated to make the workplace a safe place to work.
This is just a light question, but everybody had their pandemic activity they picked up or kept busy during lockdown. What did you get up to, Dale?
Red wine doesn't count, by the way.
Well, then I got nothing to say. No, you see, my life was so busy for so long doing what you guys now do that I kind of liked the quiet and the ability to just go sit down and read a book or play Scrabble with my husband or do nothing. So I haven't taken on a lot of stuff at all. I got a little crazy with canning, but that's my baking bread thing. But no, it hasn't been as much of a challenge for me because I like the quiet. I like not having people calling me up and talking, which was my life there at Kamloops this week, as you know. And I like not hearing, well, let me rephrase that. I like not covering dead people, because the last 4 years I was there, that's all I did pretty much was cover dead people. And that may be another reason why I'm a little passionate about this, because I covered so many kids who died from opiates and I covered so many kids who died from cancer. And if I was still there now, I'd be covering people who died from COVID. And that's just not a way to live.
And you got a dog during the pandemic, so that probably helps.
Beautiful Luna, yes, my little Australian cattle dog who woke me up this morning, thank God, by jumping all over me.
Probably keeping you busy.
And you were a bulldog reporter for us and a great mentor to Jessica and I both, and we thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Dale.
Yeah, it was fun. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Dale had some points, and she's been behind the scenes, as she said, working, I guess, with David Trawin on ways to accommodate Denis.
Yeah, it seems like it's created a lot of strife that maybe time could be used better elsewhere, but here we are. Speaking of things brewing at KTW, the last week clique was at it again. Let's have a look at this segment right here.
Last week I got a chance to see a unique method of firing pottery out in Barnhart Vale. I met with a group of potters out there. They were using an ancient process called pit firing. And some of the work that they pulled out of the ground was just beautiful. So that's all ahead of the Thompson Valley Potters Guild Pottery and Craft Sale coming up on this Saturday. You can find all the details in the paper.
Hey guys, Mike here. Bringing you another Last Week Clique segment. I was going to do it while shaving, like Dave did last time. But it's been a busy, hectic day. here in my newsroom from home. So, what I have in the paper this week, a couple of things I wanted to touch on. The first is a story about the Vision Quest Drug Recovery Center located up near Logan Lake. I actually got invited on a tour of the place last week, and we wrote up a little story about it. I was actually there when it first opened, when it got its grand opening back in 2015. Then a reporter for the Merritt Herald, Logan Lake, nearby Merritt. And we just kind of got to talk, and we wanted to do a story about how things have changed in the 6 years since they've been operating up there. And it sounds like they're getting into a pretty big change, actually, right now. The program used to be, the recovery program used to be abstinence only, but given just how terrible and toxic the drug crisis has been in BC, just last month in October, they are now accepting clients who are treating their drug problems with methadone. It's an opioid that helps treat other opioids. So they expect that because of this change, they're going to start to see a lot more clients getting referred from shelters in town here in Kamloops and other places. So they expect there to be a bigger surge, because that's kind of like the people who are using these types of drugs and not fully going cold turkey or pretty much make up the majority. They expect a 20% increase. And it's just interesting timing, because right now there's kind of like this a few locals in town who want to see, they're interested in seeing another drug recovery center like that open up a little closer to town out in Rayleigh. Now, there's no real plans from an official governmental level, I don't believe, for such a facility. But with Vision Quest moving into this area and potentially experiencing a surge in demand, it'll be interesting to see if that ends up changing. And maybe there'll be some real work done on a potential second drug recovery center on the outskirts of town in the future. Before I go, I just wanted to mention another first for Kamloops last week. I believe that Jessica, your co-host there today, Marty, is the first female host of Kamloops last week. And that's pretty cool. And it's nice to see some diversity on the show for once. It took 22 episodes, but it's good to see. So that's all from me for now. Back to you guys in the studio.
Yeah, the story that Michael covered in this week's paper on Vision Quest is an interesting one. Dale touched on it in her interview with us about the opioid crisis. And in 2021, BC seems to be on its way to the deadliest year of the crisis yet. So a big issue, and there's a lot of really passionate people in Kamloops who are working toward solutions. We have business owners, we have parents, grieving parents who have lost kids. We have counselors, agencies, and this idea to expand Vision Quest is one of those ideas to help solve that problem.
Yeah, those are some of the stories that Dale talked about that she is glad she doesn't have to cover anymore, that we still do, that you never like to cover. The Dalkeys was one for me not too long ago, and I know you've had your fair share. Sean Brady, pottery, just casually, I was out doing some pottery with some people in bar. He's always got some interesting stories. He's always shining his light, so appreciate that. But Michael accuses me of being basically a male chauvinist pig. And then he says, back to you guys in studio. Well, is she a guy, Michael? Okay. Unbelievable. Cold Control Mechanical joins us next week as a sponsor. Super pumped about that. Magic Mike and Bonnie and the whole crew of helpers. Gavin Dodd survived this car wreck, and he's here with us, so we appreciate that. More than 100 subscribers now on YouTube. Kamloops last week. New Leaf, still our #1 title sponsor. We appreciate that. Jessica, thank you. Great job on your debut today. Any final words?
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for having me, and hopefully I'll join again one day. I forgot to mention, I brought this for you. You know, I don't know if you guys know, but Marty and I actually usually, pre-pandemic days, sit next to each other in the office, and I miss him. I do. I miss hanging out in the same office with you. So I brought you this little gift. It's a notepad, and it's got a little note for you in there, and it's themed around your favorite football team.
Very thoughtful. It says Buffalo or Buffalo Bill. I don't even know what is Buffalo
It's a
cheese.
Yeah, it's a good cheesy joke for you.
Okay, this is a regifter. I don't use notepads. Just kidding. Thank you for the gift. You'll definitely be back on the show. You did a great job, and we'll see you last week.